All right, everybody, we are live again on another Thursday. I am Marcus, the Money Man, and I've got with me JD, the champ
What's
of
good?
real
What's good?
estate. Hey, we made it back after a week hiatus, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I think we both needed that break though too. How we was talking, what we was dealing with.
Man, I tell you, so we're starting month 4, right? And to really, strive through 12 whole months of consistency, there's gonna be ups, there's gonna be downs. But at the same time, man, you got to check in and see where are you with your business. So um, at the beginning of the year, we make goals.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
we do budgets, et cetera, et cetera. So this is the accountability part of the podcast. Where are you with your goals, man? As far as your goals, can you just kind of give us an idea of what you had as far as goals and
Man,
where
dude.
you at?
So yeah, man. So right now, so for my retail sales for real estate, with my goals totals, I am still on track. Had especially at the beginning of the quarter, had a great start to the beginning of the quarter that put me on pace to where I'm still on track to hit my goals for the year. Um, Happy there, but I've also saw the well, like how we were talking earlier, us having to take a week off, just dealing with things, ups and downs and whatnot of the business. I've definitely seen some of the results of me kind of pulling back while putting focus on getting the deals and things that I needed to get done. It's definitely affecting my trend. It's slowing me down, because I had an explosive start to my trend and then it kind of slowed down. So um definitely like great point what you said early. Like you want to use these kind of checkpoints to adjust how you need to. So, one of the biggest things like for me is just getting back focused on doing the habits that I use to get me busy, focusing back on cold calling, getting back to door knocking, sending mailers. I'm getting my daughter involved now with coming into the office with me. And I'm giving her a little bit of money to help me send out mailers, so that way it feels like I'm in two places at one time. Um, so I'm definitely doing good there. Behind on my wholesale deals, my wholesale and flip deals.
Okay.
Now, like I told you, I wanted to do, like I said, two flips by the end of the year. Mind you, I still got another 9 months to complete that, but I haven't been searching as hard for those opportunities. So I'm behind there. Same thing with my wholesales, behind there because I've been putting more focus on my retail side. I haven't closed as many wholesale deals as I'd like to this year to start with. So um, just kind of stepping back from my business and looking at it from overhead instead of being in the middle of it, I can see where I'm lacking, what I need to fix and pick up to get me back on trajectory. And that's they always say wherever your focus goes, that's where the energy flows. And so I know I need to kind of sit back and do a little bit more refocus my energy.
I mean, like it, so all your goals, man, it sounds like, you're either hitting them on pace or you're a little bit behind. And man, I tell you my goals, right? So I had a revenue goal. My revenue goal ended up changing. So originally I had 2 million target revenue for Zip. I've changed that now to 946. But I actually split it out. So instead of having just 2 million in appliance repair, we're entering a parallel or in the same vertical um, in another home service space. So I won't give it up yet, but we'll talk about it later. And that should net us about 450,000 for the remainder of the year. So realistically, the goal is to hit right under 1.4. Um, but as far as our core appliance business, I can't be more happier because we're right on the revenue targets. Our Zip Club memberships, we had 100 as the goal. We're almost halfway there for the year ago.
Damn.
Um,
First
which
quarter.
first quarter, so it was explosive quarter, and people really kind of resonate to the club membership more so than what I originally thought. Not only the customers, but the technicians as well. They see the value in it. And anytime you see value in something, right, you're gonna push it more,
Easy to say.
right? Exactly, because it's easy. It's right there. You can, it's just like focusing on your strengths versus focusing on your weaknesses. Most people spend so much time focusing on what they're weak at instead of doubling and tripling down on what they're good at, right?
Right.
And that's kind of the pivot where we're going through right now. So we had another target for the virtual repair depot. We had to kibosh it for now, just because we couldn't get it going. We shot out the gate, we had everything going, and we ran into some difficulties. So we were, off. What do we used to say in the corporate world? We're unfavorable in that mark.
Oh my god! Oh,
Definitely
just,
unfavorable.
just gave me a headache. Just gave me a headache. I went back to a meeting. Went back to a meeting. We are challenged in that area.
Man. And I tell you, as far as like personal family vacation, still on track. So that's a good thing. We're taking the next stage on that. Got to get our passports and stuff. And then my weight loss. Weight loss is one thing.
Talk to me.
I didn't put a pound on it. I want it to be under 200. So that's the goal, and I'm working towards that. And it could be better. I could put more emphasis on it, but I'm down.
That's good. That's a start.
So this, a big start, big start.
Yeah.
You just gotta not eat bad shit all the time. You'll
Man,
be all right.
it sounds so easy, but it's the hardest thing in because all the bad shit tastes great.
Man, it's
I
so
can tell
hard
you,
to make habits.
it's so funny, see, because for me, if I work out, I'm one of the few people who I can say I thank God for that gene. I like working out. The working out part is easy. The part that is hard is the eating right. That part I don't like doing. So I could easily have it. I should have a 6-pack right now. But instead, I got this 2-pack in the keg, and it's because I don't want to stop eating good. So I feel your struggle, brother. But hey, you at least moving in the right direction.
Nah, 100%, man. So I'm so at the end of the first quarter, I actually hit my target goal for weight.
Good.
Um, and weight goes up and down. It kind of fluctuates over time, but when I told Dane, it's like it's important if I actually do it. So I got to actually do it to prove that it's important.
It's important. Ooh, there you go. Okay.
So
Do you see? So man, for you, I love it because you went into personal too. I didn't even touch on my personal stuff. So that's great. Do one, do you feel you need to make any adjustments in anything else in any other areas or any other goals? Are you gonna ramp up your target since you're already kind of on pace with it?
I mean, I always look at it like goals as you put something out there that's it's achievable first. Uh, so I feel like even though I throttled back my revenue goal,
Mhm.
it's not because I felt like it wasn't achievable. It's because, like I said, we're gonna focus on things that we're good at, and when we do that, as a result, revenue comes more naturally than focusing on how do you get more customers, how do you acquire more market share, things of that nature. Um, but the way that and I'm a big believer of when you set goals, come back to it, look at where you are, gauge it, right? Because goals are just lagging measurements.
Mhm.
And if you're not hitting the mark, take an assessment to see why come you're not hitting the mark? What aren't you doing to build up to hit that mark? So, I gotta really, and I started this at the beginning of the year that I wasn't gonna come into the office before 12, right? That lasted like 3 days. I managed a couple days not to come in before
You
like
got that
10,
ish.
but it's hard, but it's a necessity. I need that
Right.
extra time to do other things, to focus on other things, to get prepared to achieve the goals, right?
Right.
Because it doesn't I I get in the mix, the day-to-day hoopla, just by being in the environment where I'm not focusing on what I need to do to achieve the other goals.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Oh, damn. But it's crazy because that's kind of the revert. You've already established a good habit of getting in the office at that time. So
Yeah.
your brain probably kind of wired to be in there at that time.
It is, man. It's like if it was up to me, I'd probably be in the office at 6:30 every day. Yeah, I get up early.
Damn.
And no, straight up, man, it was to the point where I was like, I get up at 5 and I wake up, shower up, and then 5:45, everybody sleep here.
Right.
It's like, well, I should. And then I was trading. I was like, well, I could drive to the office, get there by 6:15 or whatever, boil some coffee in time for the market, and do all my trading while I'm sitting in the office.
While you sitting there, you already locked in.
Yeah,
that's true.
But then at the same time, it's mixing the environment. So it's a bad idea. That's why I didn't do it. That's why I need to be here. So I can do my trading, I can do my report, I can do payroll from here without being bothered. I can do my marketing plans here because when I'm in the office, man, I get all types of questions, ordering parts. How do you fix this?
Your focus is like this,
man.
And I guarantee you some of the questions they asking, especially how to fix something or something like that, is just because you're there.
Yeah. It's just because I'm there. 100%.
I already know. Okay.
Billing questions, all that stuff. It's just because I'm convenient and I'm accessible.
Yeah, and you're the quick answer. You're Google.
Yeah. and two, man, and that's one thing. I forget who I learned this from or where I got this from. I think it was one of the books, man. 4-Hour Work Week or something like that. But the more time you block off and not make yourself readily available to people, it's a fear that, hey, stuff won't go right. But I got people who are really good at their roles. So, and matter of fact, they could probably do the majority of the stuff better than what I can do, So it's like, well, why do I need to be hanging around, honestly?
Right.
I think I need to have a presence, but man, I need to take the steps from that 4-hour work week, really block off my time so I can use it productively and, I can hit these goals, man.
There you go. Yeah, I've been thinking of checking that book out too. Was it really good?
Yeah, it was good. Okay. I think I ended up doing like the Audible version of that one. I usually read them, but this one I did the Audible version.
Okay.
And it was
I'm gonna check it out.
It's pretty good, man.
Let me ask you this: when do you think it is a good time for people to adjust their goals? When should you? And asking this, do you believe in adjusting up if you're down behind, if you're falling behind, or do you believe in going down and finding something more reachable or attainable?
Man, I believe both ways, right? So we just entered the first quarter, and I'm not going to change the goals, like the actual hard quarter goals again. So, even though I moved the needle for a couple of them, I'm not going to actually change the goal because I want it to be the target because it was based off of some kind of budgeting process that I went through. So hitting the target and obliterating your target is good, but now it turns into a different type of goal for next year. Missing the goal and like totally missing it's also positive too, because it gives you something to go back and assess why you weren't able to hit it. Right. So it's part of that improvement, the business performance improvement that everybody needs to have because nobody's perfect.
Right. How do you go about like analyzing that when you miss a target? Like what's your process if you miss a goal or target that you're giving yourself and you feel way off? Like what do you do to kind of reestablish what went wrong?
Man, it's it's a combination, right? So first of all, if it's important, you got to check on it. You got to have some checks in place. So I know when I'm not going to make the goal well before it
Right.
happens. So it's just evaluating. Okay, what happened? What went wrong? Could I control it?
Mhm.
So with VRD, it was out of our control. We have a system limitation that we didn't know about until we basically got to the last part of the project before
Mhm.
launch. Like literally, we were at launch and we can't move forward because we're at a system limitation.
Mhm.
Versus, is it something that you forgot or just didn't do that you had mapped out? Right. So we had all the things mapped out. We're gonna get the website, we're gonna get the training. We had all that stuff. We even had I had job descriptions ready to go, the whole nine for this. But the last component was very important. We needed to have the script that anybody can be plugged into this position, click of a button, be able to assess appliances and determine what's wrong with it. And man, our system that we use doesn't have it in it. We could have shifted to another system, but it's not in the budget. So you have to make that determination. Are you going to scrap everything that you did, pick up a new system to put that in place? Or do you wait for an update, request updates, wait, and maybe it'll come online later on in the year, or scrap it, rebudget towards the end of the year to put it back in the budget with the new systems for next year? It's one of those determinations, right? So project costs money. We sunk dollars into it. We sunk time into it, but we can't launch.
That sucks. Damn. So I'm having technical difficulties with my headset right now. Of course.
No, it's
Okay.
all good.
I think I'm back now.
Oh yeah, you in there, man. You in there.
Okay.
So
So yeah,
man,
that completely threw me off. But going back. So how often do you check on your goal? I know we're doing a quarterly review now, but how often are you checking in? Are you a weekly person? Are you a monthly person? Or are you a quarterly dude?
um, some things are even more than that, right? So when it comes to revenue, right, I check that every day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 3 times an hour. Uh, so just to kind of stay on the post, right? Zip Club memberships. Um, every 2 days, actually, you know, um, have assigned a role, and she's taking care of that for us, doing the tallies and stuff like that, doing a great job. So we know where we all are, and then we share it with all the team members, so everybody knows where they are for the year, for the month, etc. Um, because remember, goals are lag measures, and with lag measures, all you got to do is just pull the data and report out.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and then we got other things like personal goals, right? You assess that monthly, every 3 months, depending on, weight. You take your weight once a week. I usually do about 3 times a week, right? But it just really depends on convenience, importance, and if you're actually doing something around the function to measure. Because if you're not doing any action, you're not going to make your goal. You're off, so there's no point of even reporting it. It's a time to assess, man. Do you want to keep it? Do you want to move forward? What's going on? Do you
Right.
scratch it off? What is it?
Gotcha. Man, so for you, does it do psychologically? What does it do for you when you're on pace for a goal versus when you're off on your
Hmm.
goals? When you feel off target or you feel way behind?
Man, I don't know, man. I would say, I'm one of these guys where it's kind of like, if I'm off target, I'm stressed. If I'm over target, I'm stress. I got to be like way ahead to just be like, yep,
Stop. Okay.
Man, like way ahead. So this is our first consecutive 3 quarters that we put 3 months together. We actually hit our revenue goals that I had for the company, right? 2 years. So even though I can see the line, I can see it trending and it was looking good, I'm still, man, I think I checked revenue more often towards the end of last month than I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it was a good thing. It wasn't like we were missing.
I was gonna say it was probably giving you a little shot of dopamine seeing that good number go.
It kept climbing and climbing. Like, all right, we doing this thing.
No, that's why I want it, because I think it's something people should pay attention to and notice. Like, I think it's okay to give yourself, even if you start off with small goals, give yourself those small measurable goals, because you get those small wins.
Yeah.
And the small wins will give you those good endorphins, will build up your confidence to where you feel better going at a larger goal. I think that's a big thing when you're constructing these goals. Like you said, you want to make them measurable. You want smart goals, is what they say. You want to be measurable, attainable, or whatnot, trackable, put a time frame on it. But I think if you get those small wins throughout, even if it's throughout the day, like you may not have been thinking about it, but I guarantee you, every time you looked at that, that's like people getting a DM from their gym crush. Like, you get a good feeling about seeing that number. You know what I'm saying? You get a good feeling about that number going up. I know, like for me, I get that same feeling too. Like, if it's going well and I'm on target, I like to look at it because it makes me feel good. But I also know, like, when it's the other way around, it'll make you feel a certain type of way. And I struggle with adjusting if I need to. I'll almost double down probably when I need to release something or adjust. I'll try to double down, like that grunt in me, that old football competitiveness in me. It's like, no. It's like literally like in football season, I used to like to practice when I knew nobody else was practicing, because I knew that would put me ahead of the curve. And that's what I feel like when it's like that. When I'm behind on my goals, I want to turn up. You know what I mean? And it's probably times where I probably need to assess and say, okay, maybe I overdid it with this, and maybe I need to pull back. But I definitely struggle with that.
Yes. So, like, when you double down, triple down to hit your numbers, man, do you feel like every time is there some burnout or a cool down period afterwards?
Extreme. It can be depending upon how much harder I have to work to get to that goal or whatnot. There's definitely a sense of burnout. And I know, like, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it goes back to, like how we had to take our old fashioned Friday, where we had to meet up and just relax. You know what I mean? Had to let go of some of that stress, because I think it added up. And that's why I kind of want people that may be listening to understand too, and feel that, like, that's the hard part of when you aren't staying on pace, or you aren't looking at your goals and reassessing as often as you need to. You'll get behind, and now you got to play catch up to get there. And then playing that catch up like that can create burnout, versus you just being more focused or being more in tune with your goals early on.
Man, because I know you got personal goals as well as business goals. Like, when you're ahead on the personal or behind on the business, or vice versa, man, are they weighted the same, or how do you deal with that?
Bro, I'm glad. That's a great question. I will have to say, I honestly tend to focus a lot harder on my business goals right now. And I think that's one to flip with flipping and getting into entrepreneurship, and then literally having to start from the ground up with it. It was like a battery in my pack, where I put a lot of personal stuff to the side. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say, like, it disrupted relationships or things like that, because my energy wasn't focused as much on, hanging out, going out and chilling, and being at everybody's birthday parties, or being that life of the party. Like, I locked in. And so I kind of pushed a lot of my personal stuff to the side, and I didn't have any balance. I didn't really have any balance. And that was one of the things, like, when we talk and when we hung out, it helped me realize, like, because that good time helped me release some of that stress too. And so I had to realize, like, damn, you got to find that sweet spot of this, you know what I mean? And then be comfortable enough that if you're doing everything you can towards your goals, be comfortable with the action that you're putting into it and not the reaction that you may or may not get from the business because of that. And that took some realization to kind of get into a space and be okay with that. But no, I definitely was. I would say I flipped from being, because I just saw what it took to be successful in this, and then, like I said, I locked in with that competitive mindset. A lot of stuff just kind of got pushed to the side, especially from my personal relationships and things like that. It kind of got put, even with my weight, like my weight loss. One of my biggest ones is weight loss goals, and I go to the gym damn near every day. But I wasn't putting it into my nutrition. Like, if I didn't get there early enough, I would let work interrupt my workout. So if I start getting work calls early on, instead of putting my phone on do not disturb and finishing my workout, because that's super important to me, I'm the dude that's in the corner of the gym or going outside and talking to escrow. You know what I mean? Or talking to the client.
And to me, man, that is difficult, man. It's difficult. It's like what you said, balance. That's the key word. Is there really a such thing as balance? Especially when you're starting a business, you're new to this, and at the same time you have, and me and Tavante, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. How do you balance that personal versus the business? And man, when it comes down to the goals too, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Yeah. Balance is what you make it. People, we all aren't balanced, right? If we all were balanced, then it won't be people working themselves to the bone. It won't be people who refuse to work at all.
Right. it's just both spectrums, yes. Both sides of the spectrum.
But I don't know. I think as a business owner, you gotta have it has to be weighted a little bit skewed to the business side, especially at the beginning, right? It's almost kind of like you put in your time, you put in your dues, right? So I don't know, man. I'm biased on this one, man. I sway a little bit towards the business. I need to take more personal time, reach out to people, whatever. But at the same time, man, as you get older, for my younger folks out there, man, you in your mid-20s, your 30s, at the end of the day, man, you happiest just sitting in your house on your couch watching TV. So,
bro, you get tired. I'm getting to that point now where I don't like loud noises. Kids be somebody drive by in a loud car. I'm like, that car ain't got to be that loud. I'm that.
I know, man. The same way, man. I'm like, man, like I didn't have the subs in the trunk, man.
Insane. Had 212s in the Camaro. What's wrong? Your eardrums don't work now. But it's so. I think like it's to your point. Like I think that's why a lot of people don't get successful until they're in their 40s when they're dealing with business, because you're allowing so many distractions in. And I think that's why, like, we're both a little unbalanced when it comes to the business side, because a lot of the things that you were attracted to or slowed you down, I don't want to even say slowed you down, but you were enjoying before, you realize it's a distraction now.
Yeah.
You realize, like, it's like you said, like, man, I ain't got to be out at the club till 2 a.m. Like, I got peace at home, man. Like, and I'm paying a lot for this place. So it's like, I got to take advantage. You start thinking of stuff like that, but you start realizing, like, one, a lot of those things you're into are distractions. Two, the key people you need around you, you keep around you. Like, you realize you don't need as many people around you as you had before. You realize you need only a certain dynamic around you. And once you start to have that, and then especially like those relationships blossom and they understand who you are and where you're at. So they don't get offended if you don't come hang out every weekend, or they understand what you may be doing or handling. And that makes it very easy to be more comfortable being yourself and being involved in what you want to be involved in.
Exactly, because they know what you're on.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
They know what the
Exactly.
expectation is. So yeah, man, and I guess personal, just to clarify, it's not like, hey, personal, I gotta be chummy with everybody that I knew or grew up with, right? But at the same time, you have to have an outlet that's away from the business, and then you have to have an outlet away from the personal that is business. So there has to be some kind of wall. Otherwise, if they mesh, I guess some people it works for them, but man, when the two meshes over, that's when people have like nervous breakdowns and stuff, man.
Straight up. Straight up.
So
I would watch that when I work corporate. Like people would mix. Like most of their friends would be with the job. They would hang out with those people all the time. And it's very easy because it almost comes a home away from home. But when they lose that, they lose a huge part of themselves because they never separated the two.
yeah,
Finding that balance, and I see that even with going in entrepreneurship, I see why, and I've read and heard a lot of like people that get really successful, their family life or their marriage is in turmoil. You know what I mean? Because they don't have they get so locked in, they don't have that balance or that thing that separates the two. It's like you said, putting that wall almost down the middle where it's like, okay, from here to here, I'm CEO. From here to here, I'm dad. I'm husband. I'm son. I'm big brother. Like finding that balance or finding that divide to where you can separate and turn that switch on and off. I think is super key when developing your business and shooting. It's definitely helps when you're trying to reach these goals because you got to have that mix of everything.
yeah. And I think too, man. Like even especially if you have a spouse, right? Having the boundaries, but also setting that expectation of what it looks like.
Yeah.
That helps, and then it's trying to understand. Okay, does that work for the dynamic, right? But man, yes, it's I don't know. I've never been big on home offices, but should me and Donnie, we got to set up where we got our own home office here, and it's true a home office, right? It's work stuff in here. We don't come in here to chill. The kids don't come in here. Cat don't come in here.
Now, the cat don't. Damn, the cat.
Cat can't come in here, man. It's work. When we out, you close the door. It's work, but man, when you out, right? It's a way to just shut everything off.
Have you developed? Are the kids like they so in tune with it? They know not to bug you guys when that door is closed too.
Oh yeah. They're old enough because when they little, they don't care.
Right,
little kids don't care, man.
Every room is accessible. Every unlocked door is accessible. Yeah,
they'll disrespect everything, man.
Anything, man. No, that's key, dude. That's key. That was like you. I think you mentioned that before too about meshing the things together when you were prepping for your day. Like I know that's big. I read that in Atomic Habits. Like that's one of the key things to establishing good habits is setting up where you're going to do that, whatever habit you're trying to create. So you have to, like, you can't. I know when I first started trying to do the whole work from home thing when COVID had hit, it was a change up, man, because it was like I was trying to do it in my room, but my body would not respond correctly. It would be like, oh yeah, turn on Netflix.
This is Netflix couch.
Exactly. That's how my brain was kicking in. Like, this is Netflix time. Oh, okay. It was almost automatic. It was almost automatic. So it took understanding that. Like I was glad I read that book. It helped me understand. Like, oh, if I'm going to do this, I have to have a designated space. So then I started doing it in my I set aside a space in my living room. And like literally like one away, like TV away, remote away, and just have my desk there away from everything and just locked in like that. and that made it a lot easier. But I had to establish that space and say that space was just for work and block out everything. And then, like you said, and then let the family know, like, just because I'm here doesn't mean I'm here.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Well, shoot, man. Quarter, it's over. So now, and I guess the most important thing, take a break after the quarter. So we're gonna break time.
I'm definitely breaking after this deal. I finish. I'm going to break. I'm glad to hear you're breaking because I know you don't do that much.
I'm breaking, man.
Break, bro. Get up out of here, man.
So everybody knows what's going on. They know how to get a hold of me if they need to, but everybody knows what to do, man. They'll need me.
There you go. They better send a text message and be okay.
Somebody refrigerator broke.
As long as ain't nothing on fire, ain't nobody dead, you good. Y'all got this.
Exactly. I got insurance, man. It's called insurance people, man. They know how to
exactly. File a claim.
Yeah.
File a claim. You be all right.
I do that on my phone. Don't worry about it.
No, that's good. No, I think that's something I'm learning myself, like taking the time off, but being okay taking the time off. I think that's the hardest part. Like, I know when you, especially like you said, you getting stuff off the ground and you really trying to establish yourself, you're just getting locked in mode. You won't give yourself enough credit to feel like you could take that time off. It's like, yeah, no, man, you build something, trusting the systems that you put in place, trusting the people you put in place, and relax,
man. 100%.
Sure.
All right, man. Well, hey, man, till next week. We live every Thursday. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and till then, peace.
Yeah.